afternoon, everybody. I think straightway we will like to take through some, few slides that we have prepared as a introductory session for today's webinar. But let me tell you beforehand, actually, this exercise that has been conducted by CIA and partly by our organization, Global Agri System, is to understand the status of APMC reforms, their impact, and also the constraints and problems that are being encountered even where there is basically this has happened, the amendment to the acts or rules. So we'll start with a few slides. First of all, I'm sure that after going through the list, I know that all of the participants may be aware of Apmc Act. Basically, this is the full name of this is Agriculture Produce Marketing Regulation and Development Act. All the states, except a few ones like Kerala and some state in Northeast, do not have that act, but other states have the act in place. This act regulates the marketing of agriculture produce, and in most of the cases, this regulation means that the marketing of agriculture produce will take place in designated market areas. That was the condition till 2003. In 2003, there was a committee constituted by Government of India to see the relevance of this act, and because at that time industry had already started concerning its views and voice against too much of regulation in agriculture marketing, which was hindering the natural flow of trade as well as investment in food processing sector. So based on the committee, then there was interaction by Government of India with different states. A model act was prepared by government, and that model act, the model act envisaged to fill the long felt gap in policy and regulatory framework, particularly in terms of liberalization of the trading outside the market, within the market, and also the markets to be set up in the private sector. These were some of the things that were considered important for the amendment, and a model act was circulated. As all of us know that agriculture and therefore agriculture marketing is a state subject. The central government has a role in the developmental activities, a role in advisory this thing, but actual laws and acts and the real action depends on different states. So this model act was circulated to different states, and states were supposed to make necessary amendments in their act. And once we say the amendments in the act, it means that it has to go through the legislative process, and many states have incorporated that. Let us have a look at some of the things that what was envisaged in this model act. It was actually thought that the most of APMCs as of today, by way of granting licenses, were creating monopoly for traders operating within the market. Actually, if you give a license which is based on the fact that you should own a space in the market, you are already limiting the trading activity. That means only those people who have licenses could operate in that. Then, if that is so, then that will create monopolistic situation, and that was felt, and that was one of the most important, triggers for envisaging this model act. Then it was also considered that the role of the agriculture marketing boards, which is the parent body of the agriculture produce market committees, should be more of a sort of a advisory and facilitation activity. Of course, they will also regulate, but regulate within a liberalized reform regime. It was also considered that some of the existing problems like non-graded produce or non-standardized produce being marketed, the marketing system is not transparent, the payment is not based on actually the payment but based on the numbers and things like that, should be done away with, and those were the things which were considered to be this thing. And finally, providing infrastructure which included the setting up of physical markets in PPP mode as well as in the private sector. Oh, sorry. From industry perspective, the most important thing was the contract farming, because the processors thought that the availability of raw material through the channel of APMCs is not meeting the desired requirements of the industry. The problems were basically, as all of us know, that the produce will not be, it will be a mixed produce, different people bringing produce from different regions, and that is merging together in the market, and you have to make purchases there. You couldn't actually define the raw material requirements yourself, and contract farming was considered to be one of the most important things to overcome that situation. So for that, there were provisions for model in the model agreement. Then the provision was actually to have the contracts registered with the designated authorities, and that registration would bring the redressal mechanism for disputes, and also sort of a poaching by one of the, one company may go for contract farming, but other company can go and start purchasing, so it could also address those sort of these things. Other point of view, other important things from the industry perspective are the farmer market linkages, which means that direct marketing, or actually it is a direct purchase, where the trader or processor could go directly to the farmers. Previous acts actually says that everything that is produced by the farmer, if he wants to sell it, has to come to the designated market yards. But in this, it was also said that it could also be purchased at farmers' premises or any other place outside the APMC yards. So that was the question of direct, that was the provision for direct marketing. The second one was that it will help in overcoming the barriers for interstate movement. Of course, there was no specific thing which was in the Model Acts, but one provision which actually enabled this was that the state will, there will be only one levy, there will be only one time levy of APMC fee, which means that once you have paid the fee, you will not be stopped by the other APMCs on the way when the produce is being transported from production areas to the consumption centers. And then the other thing was the post-harvest infrastructure and the cold chain, etc., has to be addressed. All of this would have actually resulted in reducing the transaction cost. That was the purpose, that any unnecessary movement from farmer's field to APMC, and there the processor or trader purchase, and then he takes to another, this thing will add cost in terms of transportation, as well as loading, unloading, handling, and transaction costs within the market yards. So now these were the important provisions, and these were circulated to the states, and many states have taken action. And this particular slide, if you will see, these are the states, 18 states you see here have amended their acts. Other states like Tamil Nadu, which at some stage was considered that their old act was good enough to make provisions for private markets and other important things that have been considered in the Model Act. But now even Tamil Nadu has considered to amend its act, keeping in view the overall clarity and transparency in the Haryana has very few provisions have been amended, and one of them is the contract farming and direct marketing and single license related provisions. Then NCT of Delhi is permitting only direct marketing. Uttarakhand, West Bengal, NCT of Delhi and Puducherry are under active considerations for finalizing their listing. And I think so is UP. Here we have mentioned about UP, but UP has actually not amended its acts, but it has basically had a ordinance which provided for some of the provisions which are contained in the Model Act. Then the state of Bihar has already repealed the act, and I think we should think about this also, because we have done some study and we found that overall repealing the act, which could be considered to be the ultimate reform in the sense that there is no act now in Bihar, that also is not being taken very positively either by farmers or by industry or by traders, because then there is nobody who is now actually helping them to construct infrastructure. There are no regulations. People can just, many instances have happened where people just purchased produce from the farmers and vanished from the place, and farmers were left high and dry. They didn't know whom to contact for getting their dues, etc. Similarly, many times processors have started and opened their purchase centers, but nobody is willing to give them because farmers do not believe in that. So therefore, the traders in the S12 markets, APMC markets, have started actually trading by themselves, and which has created a worse kind of monopoly as on today. So we should look at those things also, that overall repealing the act itself will not serve the purpose. The status in some of the northern states, because this is from, as you know, that from the Northern Council side, the initiative, so we have done some intensive study about this thing. This is the this thing. As you can see, that Jammu and Kashmir has not amended any part of the act. Chandigarh has 3 provisions. One is relating to establishment of private market, contract farming, and single point levy of market fee. Similarly, Madhya Pradesh was one of the first states to have amended their act, which is also quite progressive in the sense that industry has taken it very well, and they are using the amended provisions for their benefit in terms of establishing businesses and sourcing raw material requirement. Rajasthan also has done some amendments. 4 amendments have been done. Haryana, as I already mentioned, that is only talking about the contract farming. Punjab has now brought out a policy which is actually they have not amended the act. They had a ordinance which lapsed after 6 months because legislature did not amend the act in the assembly, and therefore that ordinance also lapsed. But they have policy announcements on 3 issues: the private wholesale markets, contract farming, and the one is provision for prohibition of commission agents, but it has also been repealed back. It has not played this thing. They started to make payments directly to the farmers, but later on the pressure from there was a lot of confusion in the market, and therefore this was withdrawn. UP has not amended. It has had issued some ordinances for direct procurement by private sector in the APMCs. And the latest one says is that anyone who is willing to purchase up to 50,000 metric tons of produce will be given a license for purchasing outside APMC regime. But that also is a little bit fraught with some problems, because in the past such a license was issued, and one of the organizations, a major trading house in the country, started lots of procurement centers, but it was withdrawn, and then they didn't know what to do and how to meet their commitments of the produce which they wanted to purchase and has already been pre-sold, etc. So Uttarakhand also has there is a some amendment has already been made. Then the critical provision, as I already mentioned, for the industry, from industry perspective, are the direct marketing. That is one thing, and actually marketing in this would mean that marketing by farmers directly to the buyers without going into the market yards. That is the most important, because it increases the transaction cost if everything has to come to the market and one has to purchase from the market. So that is important to this thing. Contract farming is another important, but contract farming in what form? I think we will like to have suggestion from the industry. What do they think, that it should be a rigid regime of registration of contracts, or it is only a sort of a enabling provision in which the contract farming arrangement is regulated, or is governed through a series of regulations, but not actually controlled by any through any registration, etc. Then provision for establishment of wholesale markets by private sector. We think this is an important provision and should be there. And then single license for operating in more than APMC jurisdiction. Actually, for the benefit of those people who may not be actively involved in procurement of agriculture produce directly. Basically, what happens is that the APMC is more or less a district type of a district. So there is a one major APMC. That APMC has a jurisdiction. That means one district or more than one district. It is physical, geographical defined area under which they will operate. And the second APMC will operate in another district. So what happens is that if there is no single license for the state, then whosoever wants to purchase any produce from more than one area or more than say 3 or 4 belts in a state will require to get 3 to 4 licenses. So single license is important from that perspective, that if you have one license, you can purchase anywhere in the state, and as far as fee and levies are concerned, one can actually deposit it with the Agriculture Marketing Board. Then another important provision is levy or market fee only once, irrespective of number of times produce is sold and purchased. And it should not only be in the state, but different states should also respect that if APMC cess has been paid in one market or one state, the second state should not charge it, because many times the if one has to purchase a produce, say for example apple from Himachal, they will pay APMC cess in Himachal. It comes to Delhi, then they pay APMC cess in Delhi, and from Delhi it goes to another market in Jaipur. Then APMC cess is paid in Jaipur also. So that is the current regime right now, and I think it is important that there should be only one market fee. It is not only important to amend the Act, but Act is actualized through rules. But here you can see that generally that in addition to northern states, we have also given some of the other states where important amendments have already taken place. As you can see that Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Assam. These are the states where maximum or where the amendments are reasonably large, and provisions relating to direct marketing, contract farming, private market, single license, and single point levy, against which we have evaluated and found that this is the status of different states. You can just have a look at these things, because there could be some questions about it towards the end. Now, this is just giving this thing that other states other than these states, in Haryana, as we have already discussed, in Tamil Nadu also we have discussed that there was a provision already existing under section 8(1)(c) of the old Act, but now we understand that even Tamil Nadu is considering to adopt model Act and amend their old Act. Uttar Pradesh, the Act has not been amended, but provides for bulk purchase and single license through executive orders. Bihar Act has been repeated. Others, the Acts have not been amended. So when we come to the notification of rules, which actually will bring the implementation of the provisions of Act is through the rules. And that is the status of the amendment of the rules. Many times we have seen, although we have now, here you can see that most of the states except for a couple of those states, they have not amended the rules and notified, but most of them have done that. But they have taken a long time to do that thing. I know that on an average it was 1 year, 1.5 years after the Act was amended that these rules were notified. But also some of the rules, when they are notified and they become the guidelines for the officials to implement the provisions of the Act, the status of different conditions put in the rules is you can see on this thing. You will see that even in say private markets in Andhra Pradesh, the rule says that minimum investment level should be 10 crores. Himachal probably has the more or less very sort of a liberal regime as compared to others. Karnataka also has the same thing, that 25 crores for terminal markets and 10 crores for ordinary markets. Similarly, Maharashtra also has this thing, 1 crore is the minimum investment and 10 acres is the minimum land required for this. License to be granted against direct marketing this thing. Similarly, on direct marketing, you will see that there is a license duration in Karnataka, which is 10 years. As far as others are concerned, they have not mentioned about duration. So they are actually, what it means is that they are renewed on periodic basis. Many states they give for 2 years, for 5 years, and after that the company has to apply. And most of the states even have for 1 year. So every year you have to get your license renewed. Similarly, for the contract farming, you see that registration authorities have been mentioned in case of Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. All of them have done that thing. Then market fee and supervision charges. Actually, when you do the direct marketing and contract farming, then the market fee has been exempted or not exempted. The status is that it is applicable in case of most of the states. In case of, this is the status regarding other states like Odisha and Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Just have a look at this. If you have any questions, you can please type it down towards the end of this session. Then now, what is the status of investment? What was envisaged from these amendments and what has happened on the ground? So it was expected that once the acts are amended, the private sector will come forward with investment proposals. And if we see the analysis of most of the states, we find that it is a fact that the states which have more liberal regime have received a better sort of a response from private sector in terms of investment. The status is that Maharashtra today has 23 private markets. Of course, the majority of them is in cotton, but they also have for other commodities like fruits and vegetables, onion, cereals, etc. Then direct 47 licenses have been issued and 10 contracts were registered by the sponsors. But most of the times we have found that initially the contract farming contracts were registered, but later on most of the companies, the corporate sector was not interested in getting the contract registered because as it happens that by and large the industry and farmers are considered to be two different ends of a rod, and therefore there is a conflicting interest, and whenever there is a problem with the farmers, the corporates are taken to task by the authorities, but if the farmer defaults, then nothing happens. So most of the big companies thought that it is a provision which doesn't suit them, and therefore the registration of contract farming has started going down, and you will find that this is not taking place. In Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, you will see that it is informal. In Madhya Pradesh also this is informal. Madhya Pradesh is also informal. Karnataka is also informal. Thank you very much, and I think we are ready for any questions, or you want any more details or any clarifications, please feel free to type down your questions.